Eddie.
This is Nicole. Welcome to Beyond the Grind.
Let's talk about it. Those individuals that want to get your knowledge, your expertise, your vibe, but don't want to support your business.
And they're people that you know.
Yes, people that you know. I know just from the feedback, this was a highly requested continued conversation.
It was. And you want to hear something so funny?
Yes.
Why this week I was having a conversation with another agent, and something came up where we knew a mutual person. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my cousin. And they were like, oh, well, let me give you the scoop. They came to me looking for, like, they're going to be needing assistance to buy a house. I was like,
wow.
She was like, but, you know, I think that you should get first dibs on it first because you are family. I was like, they know who I am. So, you know, if they contacted you, then that's all on you. And I was like,
oh, so the other person came to you and told you that
because we just happened to get in a dialogue where we were speaking about one property, and it ended up being like something came up where I was like, oh, I have, you know, that's my cousin, you know, whatever. They're in the same, they know each other.
It seemed like it always come out when, you know, like that old saying, what you do in the dark is going to come to the light. Yeah,
listen, my mom used to say growing up, she was like, I don't have to leave my house. What God wants me to know, he will bring to me. And literally, it's like, for real, like, she did not have to leave her house, and she would find out stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, Spirit discernment. Jesus, give that to me.
There's been so many cases of, and again, me and you, we term this, like, we need to get this copyrighted or trademarked.
I know.
Knowledge theft. It's such like a major thing that's happening right now.
Brain thieves.
In addition to all the changes in the real estate market that we'll talk about, but I'm finding that a lot of people are basically, they know what you got, they know what you bring to the table, but the same token, they want to acquire the information from you, but then they say, you know what, or you don't hear from them again, or when you do hear from them finally, ultimately they already made the purchase or took the knowledge that you gave them and did what they needed to do, you know, with it. In my listening, there was a speaker that mentioned the fact that all those people that essentially helped you get to where you were going or looking to go, there's something you should do for them. What? So the other day, as you know, I write all kind of notes down. Somebody came to me in the midst of me doing this, and I had names on the paper, and I had my grandma, who's just so important to me. I had my mom. I had my fiance, and I had a guy that's, you know, he was my neighbor when I was growing up over my parents' house. But he was more like an uncle to me. And then I also had a close friend of mine, his mom and dad. But the speaker mentioned the fact that the one thing we don't do is we don't tell these people that how much they meant, you know, to us to help us get to the level that we're looking to go. So his suggestion was to write them a letter. Said people don't do that.
No, they don't.
So the person that saw me with all these names, and they saw the note where I said I need to write a letter to these people, they said, what, do you plan on killing yourself? You plan on dying? I was like,
isn't it a shame? That's the only time where it would say you don't, like, you have to receive your flowers while you're still here. Yeah, and it's like, that's a shame that we only really let our loved ones know something when it's like always end of life. End of our life, end of their life, or once they're here and they can't, like, once they're not here anymore and they're not receiving it, you're here at a eulogy, and it's like they're not here. So all these great sentiments you had about them, they will never know it.
And it's different, like, because you can verbally, because I'm big on like verbally telling someone, because you can, you know, change your voice tone, you can change your voice inflection. But when you physically write something, so for example, you know, my brother's deceased. So my one brother, he would write letters to me, and I saved them letters. So now that he's deceased, I can go back to him and look at them, and I'm like, oh, okay. And also, it takes you to a period of, you know, what they were going through. but then you can also streamline into the period of, where you were at that time frame. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to kind of loop it into this because you kind of think about it, during the time frame that you're in like a growth period.
Yeah.
As we was talking about like the trainer, mm-hmm. Remember me and you was talking about the trainer, mm-hmm. Where basically the speaker was saying he had a trainer. The trainer was always consistent on making sure that he worked out between 9 and 11.
Exactly.
Every day. Mm-hmm. And he told everybody he knew, don't call me between 9 and 11. He built himself up, to get stronger, but also by doing so, he was able to obtain, a larger client base. Mm-hmm. So imagine those individuals that then now want to go to that trainer and say, all right, well, teach me the concepts and the techniques that you learn, to make yourself incrementally big mm-hmm. in your biceps, chest, legs, etc. And then they take that information and they go back home and start doing those things. Mm-hmm. And then they open up their school or their training center, but they never give thank you to the person that they got that information from.
It's a hard situation because you expect that for people who supposedly don't love you, don't know you, right? Mm-hmm. You expect strangers to really, actually no, not even say strangers, because mm-hmm. if our clientele is coming from strangers, then they see our value. Right. But you're expecting the outside world mm-hmm. to not, to act that way. Right. But when it comes from people who are supposed to be your core, the ones that love you and stuff like that, mm-hmm. it's kind of off-putting. But then it makes me wonder, do they truly see your true value? Because they know you're knowledgeable, but mm-hmm. they obviously can't see the value in that, because something that's valuable you protect, right? Right. You're not going to just have, like, for instance, your checking account. There's value in there. Right. You're not going to just have it out for anyone to see it. We protect the things of value. So mm-hmm. obviously, if they're not protecting the knowledge that you gave them, mm-hmm. they don't see the value. We mm-hmm. have to now move beyond, in a sense, caring, because we're not going to be able to convert everyone to be a supporter of us. Right. So I have to have the mindset that who I'm supposed to have use me, who I'm supposed to have utilize my knowledge mm-hmm. and my wisdom. Yeah. That's who God wanted me to interact with. Amen. And when you do that, you can't question it. Right. You don't question where it comes from. Like, you know what? Maybe it didn't happen with my friend because it didn't happen with this family member, because who knows what could have happened. It could have been a bad deal mm-hmm. where mm-hmm. now it messed up like your mm-hmm. relationship and things like that. Well, no, I agree with that. And my thought is as well on that is that, all right, what if that consistently, I don't want to use the word consistently as if I'm speaking from my circumstance. Yeah. But I just know, talking in the business world mm-hmm. and you kind of see the memes all the time, right? Mm-hmm. You see them on Facebook and you'll see a picture of like somebody with like a crooked face, and they're like, this is the face you make when you find out your cousin bought a house from somebody else. Yes. And then, you see like, all these different posts, and you ultimately start asking yourself like, why would you come and take knowledge theft from someone that like, and trust because you came to them, mm-hmm. but then take that information and go purchase a product or service with somebody else? That's just like the open-ended question that I just couldn't understand. And the second part of that is, at least if you do that, you should at least give me credit. Yeah. Say thank you. Say, look, these are the reasons why I did this. Mm-hmm. Either, I didn't want you to know my personal information mm-hmm. because of this, or, I was nervous about this part of it because, and it all leads back to like maybe something personal. Yeah. But again, it goes to that thing about mailing somebody the letter, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. where it's like, I'm big on like giving thanks and consistently giving thanks to, those who have got me where I am today. Yeah. And I think, and what somebody told me before, they said the greatest thing that a kid could give to their parents is for the kid to become successful. Mm-hmm. So I look at that from the business aspect. Like for me, the greatest thing for me to give to my business is for
the person that comes to me for a product or service to have a success in that.
Yeah.
Just be completely satisfied with the service.
I agree.
Some people call it raving fans, right?
Yeah.
I heard a speaker say this morning, he said that when you have or when you create value, you never have to work another day in your life. And I had to sit with that.
I get it though.
So kind of flipping terms here. The other day I was driving, and I take my daughter to school.
Yes,
it's always an adventure, right?
Yeah, it's Liliana stories. We have to have a tidbit.
We're gonna have to have a whole segment. So she got these different songs that she likes. Like it's a Gummy Bear song sometimes, and
I'm a gummy bear. Yes, I'm a gummy bear.
Yes, you know it too.
Yeah.
That is funny. That's her song, right?
It's like, oh God, like, why?
And then,
yes.
So I've gotten to the position where and everybody knows, in the time frame that I take her from my house to her school, so to speak, there's about a 10-minute window where I will not talk to anybody but just her. I won't answer the phone, and the radio is not on.
Yeah.
Just like the trainer we was just talking about. This is her time. Don't call me.
Undivided attention.
Yes.
It's so important.
And I'm looking in the rearview mirror because it's not my car. In my car, I don't use a rearview mirror. But I'm driving my fiance's car. I'm looking in the rearview mirror, and she has a car seat. And I'm like talking to my daughter, and then she's like, I want to hear the Sunshine in the Pocket song. I'm like, okay. So starting to understand, like, the joy in what she's saying in the song itself.
Okay.
And as I continue to look in the mirror, I'm looking out of my side mirror, and there was something that I looked at probably I started driving when I was 16. I don't want to date myself with age here.
It's okay. We don't look our age, so we good.
But it's been over 20 years of me driving.
Woo! Like I'm joking.
And I've saw these words forever. But I actually counted them. It was 9 words. And they said, objects in mirror. You know where I'm going here.
Oh, yes.
Objects in mirror may seem closer than they appear. So I started thinking about that. The objects in the mirror that may seem, closer than they appear. It goes to the concept for me is that I got all these dreams, goals, and ambitions. Sometimes we think about the support we can get, or that we're supposed to obtain from those that we know, like, and trust, our family members. And instead of dwelling on being a benefactor of knowledge theft, I should be looking forward, again, to what you're saying, to all those individuals that God and the universe sends that need the assistance. They're coming to you saying, look, there's a situation that I'm in. Can you, help me to progress, to move forward?
Exactly.
So I just kind of wanted to just dive in on, like, what's your thoughts about that saying? Because there's so many branches of it.
There are. So, like, literally my brain was flooded when you were speaking with, like, so many different vantage points of responding to you. And one thing I think we have to be very careful of, especially being self-employed, is the entitlement.
Right.
So even though let's say we're family, right? And I'm your cousin, and I'm a real estate agent. I'm a phenomenal real estate agent. Yes. And you are about to buy a house, and you already know all these things. I speak about it. I've let you know. I've shared my business cards and things of that nature. And we've spoken in the past about the things you need to do to get to the point to purchase a home. Right. So you already had my knowledge before. So I'm thinking, like, all right, this is going to be my client by the time, you're ready. I can't feel, but that's me being entitled. Right. I just said you're going to be my client. Right. Because you still may think I'm valuable, but you might feel as though for what you're looking for, this person adds greater value. So that's why I don't want to say I'm blind, blind optimism.
Right.
But I try to look at things with a viewpoint of like with God inspired. And I feel as though if I stop being entitled, that's now me factoring their actions. That's the problem. I have to not do that.
Right.
What I have to do is just factor my actions, be in control of me, because that's who God has given me control of, myself, right? So, and realize that the people who he sends my way and the clients that come my way, they were meant to be here at this time. And I can't worry about the ones who didn't come, because those clients weren't meant for me. And then they may be the door for the next 5 clients I may have, whereas this door may have stopped there. Because what if it went bad and then everybody in the family is now chattering about something that you didn't have control over?
Right.
And now it's like, that messed up your reputation. I'm cool. I'm good. I don't want to be entitled to, like, okay, don't send me your coins. It's okay. I'm going to get like double the deal.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. But my thoughts is, if you knew that you were going to go somewhere else, then why come to me from the very beginning anyway? And when I say me, I'm talking about on a broader scale, because I've seen it happen to many people, not even just in like real estate, but like other businesses, where people are like, yeah, the guy came to me and asked me all these different things, and then he went somewhere else and purchased the service. And we can't just say it's based on like price.
I agree.
Because again, it goes to the concept of like value that we talk about all the time. Like, value itself, as we know, has an actual equation to it. So it can't be like the price of the product or service. The way I look at it, I kind of see it as if that person knows that you're going to be vulnerable to them because you already have a relationship.
Exactly.
So they feel that, and I'm not saying all people are like this, but they feel that because they have a relationship with you, you're going to be more freely just to, answer whatever it is that they need. And in their mind, they may have a belief of an outcome about you already, where they're like, all right, you're good even if I don't use you or not.
Exactly. So their motives may not be bad. Think of it. Okay. I'm thinking of all the different bread companies, right? So is it Sara Lee?
I think that's one, yes.
Okay.
I know Wonder Bread. Remember that?
Wonder Bread, yes. Yeah. So I tried it, or Wonder Bread.
Ballpark.
All right. So give me,
I think that's one.
I'm going to say like Sara Lee and Wonder Bread.
Okay.
Right? Let's say your cousin is the one who owns Wonder Bread. And you know that they make good soft bread. I get mine from the farmers market, so I don't know. But so it's not, you may buy Sara Lee though. Knowing that your family member owns Wonder, you could get a discount on Wonder Bread. You know that they're gonna give you the top notch, the fresh batch, because you are family, you in it. It doesn't make it bad that you went with Sara Lee, because what you find value in may be a different value to me. Like, this pen could be valuable to me because the person who gave it to me was like someone who I deem to be so important.
Yes.
But it's not valuable to you. So what is valuable to one person is not valuable to everybody.
I agree.
So I pondered on the topic last week, and I really had to sit and think about it. And I'm like, oh my God, I was speaking from a position of entitlement. Like, that's rude. It's disloyal. It's this.
Right.
And it's like, why am I entitled to their business? Because we just know each other. It would be nice, because you know that this is, my bread and butter.
Right.
It would be nice to have it. And I think if we came from a place of vulnerability of like, if someone contacted me for my knowledge, it can come, especially when it comes to a field that is my profession.
Right.
Not regular things where I'm not getting paid off of. Then I can open up the conversation of like, I don't mind giving you this advice, but I just want to make sure that when I give you this advice, it's a mutual beneficial relationship. It's mutually beneficial. And if we set that tone prior to giving out our knowledge that has to do with our profession, then it's a place of vulnerability of like, oh, okay, let me call.
I like that.
Let me call my agent, because I don't want to put you out like that.
Right. So do you think, I'm gonna use the word as a protection.
Okay.
With this knowledge that you acquired.
Yeah.
Again, you were out here working, taking care of your family, your children.
Yeah.
Sacrifice working out, sacrifice clubs, studying.
Yeah.
Tired. One more hour of studying, and then I'll go to bed. Back up early. You were doing all. So do you think the protection, based on what you're saying, is basically setting a stage from the very beginning with everybody you talk to, from what I'm hearing from you, setting the stage from the very beginning, saying, before we start this conversation, what are you saying?
Yeah, before we start the conversation, what is your goal from this conversation? Like, and I think that dealing with business, right? The first thing that you trained me, right? So the first thing you had to do before you started giving me your knowledge was I signed an agreement with your company.
We have an NDA.
Yes,
we're not sharing.
So it's like you knew you had a wealth of knowledge. Right. You knew what you had was valuable, and it actually is working. Guys, contact me for your real estate needs. But you knew that you were going to set me up with a plan and a business module that's going to take me beyond even real estate, right?
Right.
But before that, you had to get your affairs in order. Like, all right, here, I'm going to send you the contract for the office.
Yes.
So why aren't we doing that when it comes to our profession? Now, when it comes to personal life, I don't care who you are. I'll give you my little wealth of knowledge and wisdom that I have acquired through just living, right? Yes. But when it comes to my profession, what I get paid for, that's different. We're gonna have to have this business, structure set up.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I remember, in fact, today I had a commercial client that was really particular about a property, and of course he keeps sending me questions, and again, most of the process is just fact finding. Yeah, you're looking at the documentation and you're trying to find out, does it match up? Yeah. If you say you make $20,000 a month as the business owner and you're now selling, the data has to match up. Profit and loss and all these different things. With that being said, he continuously asks question after question after question, to the point where we're realizing that all the data wasn't like matching. When we're running our business, right, we're basically fighting for freedom. As being entrepreneurs and running your own corporation, now we're fighting for our freedom to continuously, conduct and run our businesses the way we want to run our business. So if I own a grocery store and you go in and you steal a soda, that's just one soda that was stolen. Yeah. Now another kid comes down the street and they steal a bag of potato chips. That's a bag of potato chips. Now all these different things keep getting stolen over time. Your bottom line is going down. Like, you're missing opportunities, which essentially puts you in a position where you could lose your freedom. Yeah. There's all these outliers in addition to that you're fighting to consistently have freedom for. So we can't afford to have missed opportunities.
Going back to your original example of the store, and one person stole this and one person stole that, one person stole this, right? And I'm not saying have like the way you set up your business module. A couple podcasts ago, I said knowledge should be free. Right. When we talked about college, I said people who seek knowledge, it should be free. Why are we paying for that? So I can't contradict and say the knowledge that I have, you're going to have to always pay for it. But there should be a snippet of it. I shouldn't be giving you everything. Right. So if I'm in conversation and I know that the knowledge that I have, the advice that I give is just invaluable. Like it's hard to put a price to it because it's really going to help you. I'm not going to give it all to you. Right. I'm going to have to. Okay, so when you're dating a person, the first day that you meet them, right, you don't pull out all the tricks. No, right. You can't do that. Right. Because then they're going to not need you for anything else. They'll be like, oh, you showed me everything you have. No, you have to allow that to,
manifest over time.
Yeah, I can't. And you have to get them to buy into that and be like, there's more. I need more of this. So that's what you do. So if I'm giving you advice on my profession,
right,
I'm not giving you everything. I'm not going to give you the whole game plan. I'm going to just give you enough that says, hey, I need more from you. Mm-hmm. There's more that you can help me with. And it's like, cool, let's have a conversation. But take out the entitlement. Take out the fact of, because of who you are, you have to come to me. Cool. I just want who God wants for me.
No, I agree with that too. I mean, my only thought to this is
I agree.
No, and because see, you look at it or not look at it, your statement to it is that it's a sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
But the way how I would review it as a sense of entitlement is if I went to you as the consumer and I said, or as my family member, cousin, whatever, and I said, yeah, I heard you buying a house. You got to use me. You know you got to use. But it's a difference when you
come to me.
Yeah,
I get it. Okay,
it's almost like the snake that you see slithering around the tree, and is trying to eat the bird's babies, but it doesn't want the mom to see.
But you're convincing yourself that the snake isn't a snake.
There you go.
We have to. So when I'm saying entitlement, I have to use, when I speak to myself, I have to be very, like, very direct and hard with myself. I don't coddle myself, because if I start doing that with me, then it's gonna, like, I'm not gonna be honest. Right? So I have to be very hard with myself. Like, Nicole, don't be entitled, because it makes it so I'm walking around where I can't be offended.
Right.
But not saying that, like, if I was speaking to you, I wouldn't automatically think you're being entitled to somebody else's money. Right. No, you're thinking, that, oh, okay, you came to me, so of course you're going to use me. So I'm not saying it's a horrible thing.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, if we have the mindset and we see them coming a mile away and they've done it over, because most times with traits like that,
yes,
we've seen little things that we've chosen to, like, just turn a blind eye to.
Right.
Like, you can get a gist of someone's character, even if it's not in the situation, from just listening to them, other situations they've interacted with. Like, oh, okay, they not loyal. Got it. Noted.
Right.
So why are we convincing ourselves that they're something that they're not? I know when you're coming a mile away, I already know, like, all right, I know what I'm getting. So let me set this up here. Yeah, this would be a good idea for you to do. But if you want more information, why don't you sign this?
Right.
So I can represent you to.
I like that.
Yeah.
You basically setting an expectation up front, like, and I think that's why it's important. I think probably that's why a lot of people really wanted to hear part 2 about this, because I think it happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Where there's no, like, expectation set up front, and people think they can just, go to you and get information. Kind of like that old saying, I know J. Cole said it, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 2 times, put the blame on me.
Oh, wow. Never heard that, but it's pretty cool.
Well, it's the rap quote. You got to start listening.
I don't know why.
I might not have said
Isn't J. Cole a singer?
Yeah, J. Cole.
He's a rapper,
singer? He's a rapper. He's the man. But, I might not have said it 100% right, but
I get the gist.
Yeah. So you asked earlier, and I kind of want to flip it into this kind of conversation.
Okay.
About the fact of, like, how do you judge the character of someone in general?
Yeah.
But I wanted you to help me understand.
What did I mean?
What did you mean? Because when you started talking about it, as you know, I got distracted with 800 things.
Yeah.
But I think it would be helpful for me to be able to understand this as I go through these experiences, or even encounter people. Because, as you know, people talk to me about a variety of different things. Some of the things that we're even talking about today is not just like, this has happened to me.
Yeah.
It's happened to other people I knew. And they like, well, what do you think I should do? You think I should call them? Or you think I should do this? So I'm consistently trying to think outside the box. I'm like, I don't know how to tell you. But what I probably could do is maybe learn from hearing what you have to say about how to isolate and identify the character of someone, if that makes sense. What's your thoughts?
You know what? I'm laughing because I don't know if I'm, like, the greatest person to give advice, because I'm not saying this is healthy.
Right.
But I go into situations where I think everyone's guilty until proven innocent.
Well, I'm not saying it's a...
So, and then I have a lot of different principles in my mind when it comes to people. So I also feel as though a person is more so what they show you rather than what they tell you.
Oh, I like that.
So, with that being said, right, I like to study patterns, not just by the way you treat me, because a lot of times we gauge someone's character on, well, they never snapped at me like that, or they never popped off. No, it's a matter of time before that happens to you.
Yes.
So that's within them, right? So I like to gauge people's character on how do they handle situations with others, not me, because right now I may not ever give you a problem where you have to act that way towards me.
Right.
However, that's still within you, and I like to gauge your character that way. I believe every human makes mistakes, and every human has had a time in their life where when they dealt with someone where they crossed their boundary. Right. However,
oh God. However,
in addition,
yes,
to that, and extending grace, I do recognize maybe there's lack of self-control in area, which can filter into your character. So if you have a lack of self-control and you've done something to be offensive and I communicated with you, now and I realize like, oh, that's something that you struggle with.
Right.
Self-control and having a lack of that can be your overall countenance. It may not just be in this one situation. It might be in like different areas. So for me, I take that one time you make a mistake and I just remember it. I just bookmark it.
Right.
I forgive you, but now it just makes me go like, let me continue to watch how that trait shows up in different ways. Because a lot of times it does. It's not just in that one area.
Right.
Like a person who I used to watch My 600-Pound Life, and
I watched that show. I feel
I'm
bad.
obsessed. Yeah. I do, but you know why? There was a lot of times I watch it, and a lot of people do it like in a...
What's this guy's name? The Dr. Now?
Dr. Now, the garden.
Yeah,
Dr. He was honest, right?
Yeah, he's real.
But I watched it where, if you think about it, they didn't just lack self-control with eating.
Right.
It was like a lot of them lack self-control in their temper.
Yes.
So it's a lot of times that trait can manifest in all different areas. That's what I'm really paying attention to. So when I'm looking at your character, it's not just that one situation you messed up on. It's now me realizing like, okay, I see that trait, but you also exhibit it in this area, in that area.
So do you think when you're dealing with your friends, family, and loved ones, based on what you just said, should one be consistently trying to isolate and identify those traits that you just talked about?
What you mean, like
just be like
natural?
I think organic.
I 100% think that you should be organic. I don't want anyone to perform. I feel as though once again in my situation, my relatives aren't my family.
Right.
There's a difference for me. We're related, but we ain't family. So the people who I consider family, loved ones, friends, and everything like that.
Yes.
Like there's no, like we're just us. I'm exposed. Like my heart's exposed because I know I've studied myself enough to know that I love hard. Right. And there's really like everybody has conditions because I can't give the unconditional love. That's
so would you consider it to be a bad thing for somebody to be a victim of knowledge theft and then become brokenhearted if other people love hard as well and then they're a victim of knowledge theft?
Break that down for me.
So
make it into a situation so I can be like, oh, okay.
Yes, I sure will.
There you go.
So we can continue this dialogue.
Yeah.
So you have one of the loved ones. This is just an example. So
okay.
You have one of the loved ones that you just mentioned in general. They're not your family, but they're a loved one that you open your heart up to.
Yeah.
And they commit this crime of knowledge theft. How do you deal with that?
Communication.
So you think that
I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna come to you and be like, you hurt me. You genuinely like you hurt me and you disappointed me because I didn't expect that from you.
I think that's how people are feeling when this occurs.
Yeah.
You know, there's been cases where individuals have owned other companies themselves.
Yeah.
So as we're talking about, and as we isolate and identify entrepreneurship and the freedom in that.
Yeah.
Like every day as an entrepreneur, we are fighting for our freedom.
Hello.
Like our life. if this doesn't work, you got to go find a job. And then you become systematical in going to work at this certain time. Mm-hmm. You can't organically say, oh, I want to go see my grandmom at this time and go see her. Mm-hmm. Or you can't organically say, you know what, let me go to my kid's school and drop off some lollipops.
I know.
When we talk about the freedom in that versus being in a systematical structure of a 9 to whatever.
And someone dictating to you.
Yes. And now you got somebody that you opened up your heart to that was you consider a loved one or somebody you completely love, and they committed theft. They basically intruded and also took away a possibility for you to continue to maintain your freedom for what they would have done. So you got individuals that have an organization that they may own.
Yeah.
And I've heard stories of this. Mm-hmm. And then they know that you have an organization you may own, and they come to you and commit knowledge theft, but then reach out to you and say, hey, come support my business. We're having this event today. Mm. How do you handle that?
You reap what you sow. I think you were on the phone with me, and I was conversing with my children, and I don't know what happened, but I'm like, you can't talk to them because you reap what you sow. Like, I do believe, I don't know if people call it karma, whatever, but listen, you sow bad seeds, you're going to receive bad seeds. Mm-hmm. So I love you, but it has to be any relationship that I have with any person, it has to be mutually beneficial. You don't have to give what I'm giving you because everyone gives different things, but there has to be something where we are continually pouring back into each other. Mm-hmm. It's like a bank. You can't keep going to the ATM thinking that you're going to withdraw something when you make no deposits.
I like that. The law of reciprocity.
Yes.
Like we discussed before.
Yes. So it's like, for me, you didn't support my business. I'm not wishing you harm for your business, but don't think I'm going to be up there cheesing unless I think it's going to benefit, once again, my business now.
Okay. So,
and it's not like in a using kind of way, but I have to meet you where you are and what is in your budget. You don't have the mental budget to afford me anymore and my value. So now, that was.
You didn't drop the gym.
That was good.
That wasn't the gym. That was some big coins.
So now I have to address you in that kind of way.
So I've heard stories of this again.
Stop it!
Where that has occurred.
Okay.
You run a business. That person run a business. That person stole your knowledge, but then asked you to support their business. And you go back and you support their business, even though you know they stole your knowledge and didn't support yours. But then you see they committed knowledge theft again.
Mm-hmm. But is it knowledge theft if you're giving it at that point?
Well, you gave it the first time, and the person got the result off of what you gave the first time, right? Mm-hmm. And then they purchased a product or service. Yeah. And they have their own organization that's not even the same as yours, but you still support them even though they, committed knowledge theft and utilize somebody else, for the service that you do. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like instead of you going back to them after they committed knowledge theft, you could have went to somebody else that does the same thing they did, right?
Exactly.
But you said, you know what? No, let it go. Just go there. And then as time went on, they consistently send you mailers or emailers of, we're going to have this event. We're going to have, and you
can support, yeah.
Yeah, you support it. And then as time goes on, you see, well, they committed theft again.
So once again,
and I'm not speaking of me.
No, I know you're saying things that you've heard.
Yeah, that I've heard. Yeah.
You heard the story again. Mm-hmm. It goes back to the whole thing of assessing character. Mm-hmm. So someone who habitually does that, that's just within them. It's not a habit anymore. Like that's just them, right?
Right.
And then I have to, I don't want to call them, I guess you classify as users. And everyone always thinks, monetary or materialistic. And it's like, no, you can be users of emotions or whatever like that.
I like
so
that.
Then I put people in compartments in my head. This is just how I function. This is how I move. Mm-hmm. Where when I deem you to be a user, then I say going forward, whatever I give, it's going to be something that I'm moved to do. So no longer will I look back and feel used. You can't use me if I'm not freely giving it. That's why it's like I can't control the things that people do to me. Like we said before, I can only control my reaction. And a lot of times I try to dissect how I can gain that control back. And the way I gain that control back is by changing my mind. By changing my mindset, the way I'm looking at it. Right. And it's like, I'm only going to give what I feel comfortable giving. So if I do go to support you, it's because I genuinely want to be there. Because I also don't believe in bringing my funky energy. Like if I'm in a bad mood or like if I feel negative, that is so wrong. No matter if you did me wrong, right? To bring that funky energy and just mess with the whole feng shui. Right. I'm not doing that. I'll keep my funky self to myself. Right.
No, I agree.
So I just feel as though like if you start saying like, all right, I noted, got it. But now you don't have that power to use me anymore because whatever I give, even if I get nothing back, I'm cool with it because I gave it. I freely gave it. That's honestly how you have to move in this world. You have to move in life because, like I said earlier, what I find valuable and what I find value in, not everybody is deeming it the same way.
I agree. And I think one of the greatest benefits about because you've been a victim of knowledge theft before. Yeah. I've been a victim of knowledge theft.
And there's probably times that we don't even know the times that we've been victims of it.
Right. Until it, surfaces, as we said.
Because it will manifest. It will manifest. It will come to us.
And I think the greatest benefit that we have to that is when we have a chance to look the person in the face that committed knowledge theft.
Isn't that the best?
And they know they did something wrong.
Isn't that the best?
And even if you don't say anything, they know.
I know. I like watching people squirm.
Yes.
It's like, you know what? I don't know if it comes from a competitive thing, but it's like, I won.
That's right.
But my mom used to say, never let your left hand know what your right hand's doing.
Do it and get cut off every time.
Listen.
That's what my grandma says.
Really? Mm-hmm. Mama wise. Or, so for me, it was like, I like having that vantage point of like, all right, I know. And you don't have, and it's one of those great things where you're like, but I don't need to tell you that I know. Like,
and you also think
now I'm gonna test your character.
That's right.
Are you gonna tell me?
And you say they missed out on something.
They missed out. It's their loss.
There you go.
And I'm saying we have to start thinking like your loss, not mine.
Right.
You're not even worth me having vengeance. Mm-hmm. I don't care about vengeance. That's still me factoring you. You're just nothing. Like
they're in the rear of your mirror.
Yeah, and I don't like you said. We don't look back.
Right.
Like, we're not looking back.
We gotta look at the objects that's closer in the mirror.
Right, and looking forward. Like,
there we go.
And it wasn't meant to be, and that's cool. Mm-hmm. Got it, but you won't get me. You won't give me the okie doke again. Like, lesson learned.
I'm glad we got to do a part 2 on this.
Yes, I hope that answers people's questions, gives them insight on how to just navigate with people. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Beyond the Grind.
Let's talk about it.